Level 2, Survival Difficulty Class 2. Unsafe, secure, low entity count. Level 2 is the third level of the Backrooms, and the last one you could feasibly start out in. Description: Level 2 consists of mainly of dark, grey, concrete maintenance tunnels, stretching on for millions of miles. The walls are lined with pipes and occasionally ventilation ducts, which often contain a thick viscous black liquid. Doors can sometimes be found, but most are locked or lead into dead ends. These rooms typically house shelves with random assortments of objects, occasionally computers. At certain parts in hallways in Level 2, the heat can become unbearable, reaching 43 degrees Celsius, 110 degrees Fahrenheit, or higher. This is usually in areas where the machinery is the loudest, typically at the ends of hallways. The entities found on this level are some of the most dangerous in the Backrooms. Noises can be heard from the vents, which are caused by crawlers. You can also find mark in employee bathrooms on Level 2. Other beings here include smilers, child facelings, clumps, hounds, male death moths, insanities, bursters, and skin stealers. And Jerry. The only thing you need to know, and can know, is to run away the moment you see one. The entity shown in the picture has not been identified but is thought to be a nuller that can be found in level negative alpha, and the fate of the original photographer is unknown. Colonies and outposts. The survivors. A group of about 29 people who explore the level. Their leader is named Austin, and they are friendly and open to trading. They hold their supplies in wooden crates found in Level 3. They were the first to discover the insanity. This group often has conflicts with the followers of Jerry Outpost. Office Space EL3A. Office Space EL3A is an office space in Level 2 home to around 30 members of the BNTG. For more info, see Office Space EL3A. Entrances and exits. Entrances. Level 2 is one of the only levels in the Backrooms that can be directly accessed from normal reality. You can come across Level 2 by exploring for long enough in Level 1. It can also be accessed from the hub. Exits. Contrary to popular belief, not all of the doors on Level 2 are locked, or lead to dead ends. Some can lead into Level 3, Level 4, and occasionally back to Level 1. If you no-clip into an extremely hot area in Level 2, you can wind up in Level 2.1. Entities in Level 2. Entity 2, the windows. Entity number 2. Habitat, architectural. Description: the windows are creatures in the shape of a window. The window has a figure inside, always pointing at the target. If the target is unaware of the creature, it will attack immediately. Windows will generally appear on Level 1 through Level 2, although mostly being on Level 1. Some windows are safe when there is no shadowy figure behind it, some can lead to Level 1.5. Behaviors. The windows start by pointing in the direction of a wanderer, and whispers tell the wanderers to enter the window. Once close enough, the entity will grab you, and pull you in, even if the said window is closed. It rumored that it's just an empty void on the other side, even if it shows land on the other side. Biology. These windows can come in many different shapes and sizes, and the same goes to the shadowy figure behind it. The shadowy figure always seems to look human, and will whisper to wanderers to lure them into its trap. Discovery. There is no real first report about the windows found at the moment, but the group known as the Lost has referenced them as the men behind the glass. Do's and don'ts. Do. Avoid all windows at all costs. Don't. Do not trust any windows in any level if a figure is behind it. If the windows wants you to follow them, do not agree to do so. Entity 3, the Smiler. Entity number 3. Habitat, majority of levels. Description. Smilers are generally hostile, and there have been many confirmed sightings of them. They can be identified by their signature reflective eyes and teeth gleaming in the dark. The best way to escape a smiler is to keep eye contact. Smilers tend to reside in dark areas on level 2 and level 3. Their base is known to be the smiling room. Behaviors. The smiler is attracted to light, and will chase anything they see with a light. So distracting it by throwing a light source at it, would be great for an escape. The entity will only start to attack if you panic and retreat, or if a loud noise is made. Keep eye contact, and move away slowly, to ensure your survival. Using a smiler exterminator, and spray smiler fluid against a smiler, would cause the entity to retreat, or lose its senses for a long period of time. Biology. Smilers have a long smile, with multiple sharp teeth, and has white glowing eyes. It is unknown what else it has for its biology. It is rumored to have a physical body, which cannot be seen with the human eye. It's rumored they have non-human, alien-like bodies, with arms and legs bent in unnatural ways. But this is unconfirmed. The MEG is currently trying to find out more about its biology at the moment. Discovery. It is unknown how the smiler was originally discovered, as it is extremely common in most levels. The earliest modern report of the smilers was when an anonymous Reddit user posted about them running from a glowy smiling thing. Before that, the group known as the Lost had descriptions of what they called the ones that smile. Do's and don'ts. 2. Keep eye contact, and walk slowly. Keep quiet, and do not make any loud sounds. Use a smiler exterminator bottle. Turn off all sources of light that you have equipped. Don't run away panicking unless the smiler starts to chase you. Make loud noises. Keep your light sources on. Entity 4, Death Moths. Entity number 4. Habitat, majority. Description. Death moths are giant moths that inhabit the backrooms. While the male death moths are mostly harmless and possibly even tameable, the female moths are several times larger, can spit acid, and are entirely hostile. Death moths are attracted to light, so if you hear the fluttering of wings nearby, make sure to put any light source out. Smaller death moths inhabit level 2, level 3, and level 5, but the larger and more dangerous ones only appear in level 5, where their hive is centralized and where the king and queen are. They have completely taken over the level, and are the only things there besides the mysterious beast. Behaviors. Death moths vary in hostility and biology depending on the level they are found in. The hive, considered the source of the death moths, is where they are the deadliest and most aggressive. However, individual death moths of every level vary in danger. Biology. The death moths are giant moths, although they do not share many similarities with normal moths. The majority of their lifespan, birth, and death, are completely unknown. Discovery. It is unknown when the death moth entity was found, but it seems that the group known as the Lost, called these entities the Flies of Terror. Do's and don'ts. 2. Avoid contact and do not act aggressive. Don't attempt to aggravate the moths or disturb the hives. Entity 5, Clumps. Entity number 5. Habitat, level 2, level 3, majority. Description. Clumps are a strange and bundle of limbs that are dangerous to interact with. They can be found in a majority of tight spaces in levels, as that's their preferred habitat. They are dangerous, but some may not attack for reasons which are unknown. The earliest you'll see a clump is typically in level 2 and level 3. Behaviors. While they're small and look harmless from a distance, every clump has one hidden, very long arm which they can use to grab you from up to 8 feet away if you're not careful. Once a clump has grabbed you, they'll reveal a set of sharp teeth and begin to pull you in to eat you. It is believed your own limbs and possibly fragments of your mind are absorbed into the clump. Biology. Clumps are very bizarre in terms of appearance, being a ball of arms and legs with a strong, pulsing heartbeat. They usually run in a strange motion, with all of their legs and arms swiping across the floor to try to get to its destination. Once in motion, they can be very fast, and they can leap over obstacles in their way. They are in fact very intelligent, and can use their limbs to climb up surfaces that can be climbed, and they can travel in vents. One person claims to have seen eyes in the mass of appendages. Discovery. The first modern report of a clump was when these entities were found by an anonymous Reddit user after they encountered a skin stealer, and successfully escaped, and got attacked by a clump while typing their post. They have made a new post about how they survived shortly after. The group known as the Lost have mentioned clumps in their ancient text found in the Backrooms. They referenced them as the ones with many limbs. Do's and don'ts. Do. At least stay away in a range over 8 feet. If you hear what sounds like multiple people running, please retreat. Don't go near them at all, if you spot one. Try to interact with them. Stick around when one is moving into your position. Entity 7, Jerry. Entity number 7. Habitats, Level 1, Level 2, Jerry's room. Description. Jerry is a small bird with resemblance to the hyacinth macaw parrot. Its habitat is mainly Level 1, but it occasionally spotted in Level 2. This level is home to Jerry's home, known as Jerry's room, where Jerry and his followers are often found. Those who make physical contact with Jerry without taming him are subject to his indoctrination abilities. Jerry can be tamed using sunflower seeds or almond water. Otherwise, it is safest to avoid Jerry at all costs. Behaviors. Survivors that make physical contact with Jerry, without attempting to tame him, will be affected by his indoctrination abilities. This basically makes the victim worship Jerry like a god, chanting phrases such as "Jerry is everything," "Jerry is what I live for," and "All hail Jerry." After a few hours, the assimilated will disappear to Jerry's room, where they will remain until they choose to exit and spread the word of Jerry. Jerry's followers will act like mindless zombies until they reach Jerry's room, at which point they will regain control of themselves, and will now worship Jerry as if his godlike status was ingrained into their mind. Unless you are attempting to tame Jerry, he will make chase when he sees you. According to Reddit user u/Reno the Penguin, those who manage to outrun Jerry and avoid being assimilated will be instantly no-clipped into the ground. Whether or not Jerry has the ability to cause others to no-clip is still being investigated. Jerry will typically either wander level 1 and 2, or sit on a wooden perch in Jerry's room. Here, followers will kneel before him and chant to him. Biology. Jerry has a physical appearance of an adolescent male macaw parrot, with blue and white feathers. Jerry's diet consists mainly of sunflower seeds and almond water. By slowly approaching Jerry with almond water or sunflower seeds, Jerry can be tamed. Taming Jerry will allow you to hold him and not be affected by his indoctrination abilities. After a few days of being tamed, Jerry will fly away and will not assimilate the tamer if contact is made again. Jerry has been reported to have no clipping abilities, and other powers that he has are currently unknown. Discovery. A diary entry referencing Jerry was discovered in June of 2019, the entry in question being written in 1959. The first reported sighting of Jerry by the MEG was made in 2015, when MEG Team Wild Warriors were assigned to take out an entity that had been taking members of the survivors on level 2. 2 members of the squad were indoctrinated by Jerry, and the rest were ordered to retreat. Interview log May 3, 2020. The following is an interview between an MEG officer, who has asked remain anonymous, and Sinclair, an assimilated member of the followers of Jerry. Begin log, 1833. Interviewer, MEG. Officer. Interviewee, Sinclair. MEG. Officer, please state your name for the interview. Sinclair laughs, my name doesn't matter. Why the fuck would it matter? MEG. Officer, can you please elaborate on that, ma'am? Sinclair, I am nothing more than a follower of Jerry. He is everything. Unless that's what you want to talk, I don't have anything to say to you. Sinclair begins writhing and screaming in pain. MEG. Officer, ma'am, are you all right? Sinclair, O glorious Jerry! Forgive me, I will speak to the blinded one before me. I'm sorry, Jerry. Your will shall be done. Sinclair calms herself down. My name is Sinclair. MEG. Officer, right. Okay, Sinclair, can you please explain who Jerry is? Sinclair, Jerry is everything. Jerry is the only beacon of hope in this God-forsaken place. I used to believe there was no hope here. That happiness could not exist here. But Jerry found me, and showed me the way. And soon, he will free all of us from this cursed hellscape. MEG. Officer, you believe that Jerry is the key to escaping the backrooms? Sinclair, why wouldn't I? He is all-powerful. He's more mighty than the false prophet of animations. If it wasn't for Jerry Sinclair begins crying. MEG. Officer, Sinclair, we have Jerry with us. He was recently tamed, if you would like to. Sinclair, you did what? What have you done to him? You piece of shit. I'll fucking kill all of you. MEG. Officer. The officer points their weapon at Sinclair. This interview is over, requesting assistance immediately. Sinclair, all hail Jerry. Summary: Sinclair violently attacked the officer, and attempted to grab their gun. After managing to escape the interview room, Sinclair grabbed Jerry from a MEG operative, and ran away with him. Sinclair's current whereabouts are unknown. Jerry has since been spotted on level 1 as normal. End log, 1846. Do's and don'ts. 2. Steer clear of Jerry if you cannot tame him. Keep a bottle of almond water or packer of sunflower seeds if you intend to tame him. Brace for sudden no-clipping if you manage to escape. Don't approach Jerry without the intention of taming him. Speak negativity of Jerry in the presence of his followers. Allow yourself to become indoctrinated by Jerry. Entity 8, the Hound. Entity number 8. Habitat, majority. Description: the name Hound comes from the dog-like nature of these entities, crawling on all fours and mauling anyone that provokes them. Hounds are humanoids with a strange biology, with arms and legs that are built for travel on all fours. They are highly aggressive, and are made aggressive when they see someone in an aggressive state, but can be intimidated by direct eye contact. Behaviors: hounds become hostile the moment they see a human. However, they become intimidated when you give direct eye contact and stare them down. This won't work for long, however, but it should be enough time to get your bearings and make a run for it. However, if you hear a growling noise, it's safest to stay out of sight of a hound. Biology: a hound appears to be a human with long black hair growing on the head. They have sharp claws, an extremely large mouth with sharp teeth. However, this is often unseen due to the amount of hair. As mentioned, they walk on all fours, and have a lot of power when they attack a target, despite appearing sickly skinny. Hounds hatch from eggs that originate from the hive. Discovery: one of the earliest known video recordings of the Backrooms depicted a wanderer running away from a hound in an area that resembled level 0. However, since we don't currently know when the hive was spawned, if it even had a beginning, we can't determine the origin of hounds at this time. Do's and don'ts. 2. Keep direct eye contact with hounds if one is approaching you. Stay out of sight if you hear growling. Don't run away from hounds the second you see one. Attempt to tame them. Entity 9, Facelings. Entity number 9. Habitats, majority, most commonly level 1, level 2, and level 3. Description: Facelings are a general term for faceless people that roam the backrooms. There are multiple types, each with varying levels of hostility. They are one of the most populous entities in the backrooms, and likely one of the first entities you will encounter. The most common two forms are adult facelings and child facelings, although more have since been discovered. Child facelings are mischievous and hostile. They often appear in groups of 2 to 3, and will torment and attempt to kill survivors they encounter. They are almost always female, and brandish small sharp object. These typically are small pieces of sharp metal, or small knives. However, seeing one is not always an attempt on your life. They will sometimes just attempt to scare survivors, or pull pranks on them. Entity 10, Skin Stealer. Entity number, 10. Habitat, majority, most commonly level 1, level 2, and level 3. Description. Entity 10, more commonly known as the Skin Stealers, are large humanoid entities that can wear the skin of their victims as a disguise. They eat human flesh when in a hunger state, and otherwise roam aimlessly if they do not need to eat. Their blood is translucent, and they can mimic human speech. They are most commonly found on the first 4 levels, but have been reported in several levels. Behaviors. Skin stealers are typically docile creatures and will wander aimlessly if they do not need to feed. In this stage, they will not be hostile unless you aggravate them. In a hunger state, they will seek out humans wandering alone and will then use their strength to tear them apart with their hands. Biology. Skin stealers are tall, pale yellow humanoids with sunken white eyes. Their outer layer of flesh is covered with microscopic bumps similar to the suckers of an octopus's tentacle. These stick to skin that is torn off humans, and push and pull on it to make it fit, until the skin stealer looks identical to a human. These bumps also pump blood and nutrients into the skin, to make it feel warm and alive as well as prevent decomposition. In addition, it heals the skin, hiding any cuts that may identify a real human. After a period of around 24 hours, the skin will be digested through the surface of the skin stealer, and the skin stealer will enter a docile state. A skin stealer also has the ability to speak, but it cannot understand language. It will repeat what it hears, often in varying languages, in order to lure in prey, but it cannot actually communicate. Although, since a typical skin stealer rarely uses their voice, this is not a good way to tell them apart from real humans. The blood of a skin stealer is completely translucent, so a good way to identify a skin stealer from a normal person is by their blood. Blood runs red, they're not dead. Blood runs clear, steer clear. Discovery. Sightings of skin stealers have been reported over 5 years before the creation of the MEG. As some of the most populous entities in the backrooms, they are often one of the first entities new wanderers will encounter. Do's and don'ts. Do. Walk away slowly and calmly if you see one. Check anyone you are traveling with for clear blood. Don't. Trust people that barely speak, or say random assortments of words. Aggravate the skin stealer in its docile state. Entity 11, Bursters. Entity number, 11. Habitat, Level 3 and Level 2. Description. These creatures are found on Level 3 and appear vaguely humanoid in appearance. They crawl on all fours to move across the halls of the backrooms, with their back legs further stretched out, more similar to a canine's leg structure than to ours. On the back of the burster are many calluses, that explode in small pops of acidic fluids when agitated of hunting prey. Behaviors. The bursters will stay mostly docile in a fetal-like position, but when a living creature comes near the calluses on its back will burst, causing an explosion of acidic-like substances to spray against the victim's face, usually impairing their vision. After this occurs, the burster will wait for the acid to kill the victim, which it usually succeeds in doing. If the victim survives, the burster will continue to spray acid until said victim has succumbed to shock, wherein the burster will consume the victim. Biology. The bursters appear to also be somewhat damaged by the acid they produce. When a burster is hurt by either an excess amount of acid within a burst, or by other means, they will begin to harden their skin in a cocoon-like material. These cocoons can be broken with enough force, causing the burster to die. The bursters are also extremely vulnerable to almond water. This causes severe burns to the burster, of which they usually do not recover from. It is assumed that the acid the burster produces causes some sort of negative reaction when in contact with any type of water. Discovery. When bursters were first discovered, they were presumed to be a subspecies of the hound. However, the classification was changed after successfully killing a burster without causing it to cocoon itself, during which enough biological differences were found to determine it a different species than the hound. Do's and don'ts. Do. Cover up face and hands with any material when near burster. Keep a supply of water when near a burster. Don't come near or contact a burster. Disturb a cocooned or resting burster. Entity 15, Insanities. The photo may be disturbing, look away if you are not comfortable with this. Photo in 3, 2, 1, 0. Entity number, 15. Habitat, majority. Description. These creatures are zombie-like humans that went insane in the backrooms. Only one picture was taken when they were terminated. They are usually found in the lower levels, and are pretty common. This usually starts when a human goes insane in the backrooms. After a while they will start to attack people, and they will start to act like a skin stealer, their skin will become more reddish, and they will develop holes on their body, and develop a large smile over time. Behaviors. These entities were once human before, so some might not attack. If they proceed to attack, some will have weapons, or items, but most are very slow. But still be careful, as the more insane they are the more speed they will have. They usually make low grunts and moans, but some will make high-pitched grunts and maniacal laughs that are very loud. You can take this sound info and listen to see if they are dangerous or not. Rarely you can save one, or yourself with almond water, before they turn into this state. But, if all of their bodily fluids have developed into almond water, before your intervention, which at that point, they cannot be cured. The MEG is researching more about this entity's behaviors at the moment, as it seems to change quite often. There is rumors of a friendly full insanity that still has human sentience, although this is unknown. Biology. These entities have around four stages of development called insanitation. The first is just an insane person. Some might be dangerous, but is easily savable with almond water. The second is when their skin starts to become a reddish-brown tone of color, and the wanderer seems to be more confused than average, and almond water is still helpful at this stage. The third stage is when they start to develop holes in their body. At this point, it is possible that their bodily fluids become almond water or not. That is when it varies if almond water works as a cure or not. The fourth and final stage is when the insanity takes full effect, and they develop a large open smile, mostly without teeth. And they develop large eyes, that move all around non-stop. This is the point where almond water no longer works to cure the entity. Discovery. The insanity was first discovered when a group on level 2 known as the Survivors were getting their base attacked by this entity. Shortly after, a wanderer known as Austin had terminated the entity soon after. You may find the whole event log here, MEG. The discovery of the insanity. Do's and don'ts. Do. Try to save one with almond water before the final stage. Always drink your almond water, if you start to feel the loss of sanity. Listen to the pitch of their voice, to determine the difficulty of the entity. Don't try to save one when the entity gotten to the final stage. Lose, or ignore your almond water, for your own safety. Photo is now removed. Entity 16, Nagwithrasur. Entity number, 16. Habitats, Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. Description. A Nagwithrasur is a large spider-like creature that possesses 16 appendages. While a close encounter with it is highly dangerous, not only are they slow, they also aren't observed to chase prey. As long as you steer clear of its traps, they are essentially harmless. Behaviors. They generally stay hidden on ceilings, creating ball-shaped webs and filling it with a sedative that, while unable to completely paralyze a victim, is enough to greatly dampen a person's thinking capability. It then hangs these balls on the ceiling with additional webbing. It continues to do this when there is no prey nearby. On smaller prey, i.e. other bugs, it simply spurts the chemical and then starts to eat the prey. On humans, however, it stays completely still as to not be noticed. When the wanderer is directly below its traps, it proceeds to cut down a single ball. The ball then bursts out the sedative onto the target. Most targets will not notice the first one, but will start to feel weird. The effect of the depressant starts and the victim will start to feel less aware of their surroundings. It then proceeds to drop all of the balls at once, eventually making the target completely unresponsive to any outside stimuli. The Nagwithrasur then drops down to its prey and proceeds to eat it alive. After feeding, it returns to the nearest possible ceiling and hibernates before setting up its traps once again. Biology. Nagwithrasurs are currently classified as an arachnid under the Solifugae 1 order. Sizes vary greatly, but the average size of a Nagwithrasur is estimated to be around 4 inches wide and 7 inches in length. Footnotes. 1. An order in the class Arachnida known variously as camel spiders, wind scorpions, sun spiders, or simply as solifuges. Discovery. It is believed that Reddit user u/LordMac29 was the first to discover Entity 16 after a short message containing a considerable amount of spelling and grammatical errors was sent to an MEG member. As the message was near incomprehensible aside from the words spider and 16 legs, no investigation was made, as it was thought at the time that u/LordMac29 was under the effects of some recreational substance. The first recorded sighting of Entity 16 was from a team of MEG explorers in a mission unrelated to the said entity. They have set up directly underneath a family of Nagwithrasurs, and by the time they realized what was going on, 2 members have already been fatally injured and were unable to recover. The team immediately went back to a safe base and recorded the incident and the entity. The first version of this entry was created by an MEG explorer that was, unknown to them, was still under the heavy sedation effects of the Entity 16 secretion. The name for Entity 16 was supposed to either be the sleeper or the sleeper spider, but the name Nagwithrasur was typed instead. The name stayed this way as a reminder of how powerful the sedation effect could get. Research. While the entity itself is dangerous due to its size, its secretion is found to be very harmless, even in large doses. Research is currently ongoing to create highly effective painkillers, antidepressants, and other beneficial drugs that people within the backrooms are in desperate need of. Do's and don'ts. 2. Look for ball-shaped web sacs on ceilings. Avoid ceilings with web sacs. Pay attention to any signs of discomfort. Shake your body every now and again to counter a possible Nagwithrasur attack. If attacked, seek help from a nearby outpost immediately. Don't stay in a single spot for long if there are ceilings above your head. Ignore minor discomfort. Give up hope. Injuries from a Nagwithrasur are usually treatable, so if you can still notice them, it's a good sign that you could still be saved. Entity 17, Crawlers. Entity number 17. Survival tips. Very little is known about the crawlers, and few have even seen them. More information required to come to a safe method of avoiding them. Description: humanoids with long hair and burnt skin. They walk around on all fours. They are hostile on sight, so avoid at all costs. They are found on level 2 inside the ducts. More information has been requested to any and all survivors of the backrooms who may have come into contact with these beings.